When you have an account on Neuron, the first thing you see is the dashboard with the different projects. It's essential to understand that there are two possible ways you work in Neuron. Why? Simply to avoid having to multiply projects. If you're working on a provisional project, for example, if you are a web writer occasionally working for some clients, there's no need to track the website. If it's not part of your contract to manage the complete content of the website, but just to write articles following the given instructions, for example, you can simply put this in a generic project called Client. It's important because if you choose the first level of subscription or lifetime access to Neuron, remember there's a partner offer, the link is below this video, to access NeuronWriter by paying once and getting lifetime access to the product instead of paying a subscription. And there are several levels of access, whether with the subscription or the lifetime offer. The more accessible access is for two projects. Ideally, in this case, have your own website and a generic project for various clients. So the difference, when you create a generic project here, that you create a new project, is that it isn't linked to a domain. So here it will be called, for example, Client, okay? So it's not linked to a domain. You just set the default search engine, the country of the default search engine, and the default language. That's all you will set since there's no need to analyze the page itself. We will be in a more generic program, but on the other hand, you can also create a project linked to a domain name. Note that if you work on a project for a client, it's not locked. That means if, for example, tomorrow you no longer work with this client, you can recover your number of projects by deleting this customer's one. Here, I have 5 out of 10 projects. If I go into a project and go to Project Setting and delete the project, we will be able to recover it here. So if we look here, we have project 4 out of 10. Okay, so we've recovered a project. Let's see the creation of a concrete project. A project linked to a domain name. We enter the domain name in question and we choose, in the same way as we've seen previously, the default search engine and the default language. The only difference is that here there will be the URL of the domain. Projects can also be shared with others, for example, writers you work with, the projects or even the analyses themselves that we'll see in another video. When you have a project, you can add different information about this project. As we saw during creation, the URL, default search engine, default language. You can have multiple languages on a site and work on queries for multiple targeted countries, but this is the default. And then you can tick to treat the title as the H1. When H1 header isn't present, it will consider that the H1 will be the same as the title to give the optimization score of this content. You can enter the desired keywords for this project. You will also enter the brand's keywords, what identifies the brand. Next, the negative keywords, those you don't want to be specifically positioned on. For example, someone looking to make a free buyer persona will not find it on edenpersona.com. So I remove free and gratuit for English and French version. You can too put the keywords of competing brands. I will list, for example, any tool that allows to create personas, so Neuron can analyze the competitor's keywords. Here, you can block the suggestion of content terms that are 4 words or more. This is not something I recommend because, on the contrary, you should look for long-tail keywords. At last, here, you can list the domain names of competitors for whom you've entered keywords here, for example. And you can integrate directly your WordPress. If you manage your site through WordPress, you can directly connect it, and it will allow you to import content directly to Neuron, or export what you've created on Neuron to the website under WordPress. I'll show you in another video how to do that. So in this video it was mainly to understand projects management, how it works. And I invite you to click on the next video to understand how the Neuron Queries board works.